Hello guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. In this video we will summarize what we have covered in this Programming with Scratch series. In addition to practicing using some basic elements of programming such as variables, conditional statements, loops, we have covered some basic concepts closely related to game making. We'll learn that the basic principle of computer animation is showing a series of images at a certain speed to create an illusion of motion. Each image is called a frame, and the speed at which the images are being changed is called a frame rate, measured in frames per second, or FPS. We also practice using the so-called looping background technique to create an illusion of infinite motion, as well as using random numbers to add variability to our games. One of the reasons I think Scratch is a good way to learn programming in general is that it gives a practical and visual introduction to object-oriented programming, a rather advanced concept that we will cover in more detail in the next video series. Specifically, the fact that the code we create in Scratch belongs to a character and creating clones of objects, which we did in the previous video, are very characteristic features of object-oriented programming. Throughout this video series, we extensively used the so-called events, including the basic when green flag clicked block and more advanced ones, such as when key pressed or when I receive blocks. We will continue using events more extensively in the subsequent video series. Furthermore, becoming familiar with controlling position, rotation, and scale or size of a character in Scratch using numbers that we did throughout this video series will be very helpful further on when we get to game making with Unity. This video is meant to bring this video series to a logical yet somewhat temporary closure. It is a logical closure because the main purpose of this video series was to smoothen our transition from basic programming that we covered in the previous video series to a more advanced one that we will cover in the next video series. It is temporary though because we haven't fully explored Scratch and what it has to offer to a creative game maker. While you're very much encouraged to continue the exploration on your own, I will occasionally add more videos to this series too. In the next video series, we'll be using the Java programming language to familiarize ourselves with object-oriented programming, which in turn will smoothen our transition to game making with Unity. Some of you have probably noticed that game making is quite often about creating an illusion of something happening, which allows us to sort of cut corners. For example, we don't need an infinite background, we can create an illusion of it using a finite number of images. I'm saying this to emphasize that there's hardly anything magical in programming in general and game making in particular. And quite often it boils down to playing with numbers, which we did a lot in the previous video. As an afterword, let me reiterate that even though Scratch is quite different from the C language that we used in the previous video series, there is hardly any essential difference between the two in terms of what they make the computer do. This is because, and I will never get tired of repeating this mantra, in a nutshell, the only thing computers do is process data. And both Scratch and C allow us to create data processing instructions for the computer. And this is it for this video. See you in the next one. Bye.